All right, Ryan Spoon is the first vice chair of the Ada County Republican Central Committee, and, well, he's gotten a little notoriety over the past week or two. Ryan, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brian.
So, well, why don't you tell the story? What's been going on?
You'd probably have to go back to, I believe it was March of 2024, when Representative Stephanie Mickelson gave testimony before the Idaho House during one of their floor sessions. And she stated that, quote, every food processor in the state, unquote, hires illegals, was the gist of what she says. So I didn't really think that it was reasonable to assume that she had the ability to speak for every food processor in the state. But it was obvious that she was speaking for the 3 food processing businesses that she owns. And so that simmered with me for a little while. I didn't like a sitting legislator so openly flaunting her violations of immigration law. But I pretty much just sat on it and complained about it to people I knew. And she attacked Senator Brian Lenny in the meantime, went after him, claiming that he knew nothing about agriculture or Idaho or immigration or anything like that, because he was saying that we should uphold our immigration laws. And so then on Inauguration Day of 2025, when Trump was inaugurated, January 20th, 2025, he said, this is the golden age of America. It's a new dawn. And the next day, Tom Homan, I believe he's with DHS, he put out a statement saying that he was asking for Americans to send info on illegal immigration. And so I did that. I sent in that information that she had posted, or that she had stated before a public session of the Idaho legislature, basically a public confession of her violations of immigration law. And I sent that in. I tried to call the ICE tip line first, and they were way backed up, probably a lot of people responding to Mr. Homan's request. And so I went to their online tip form and sent the information, what she had said. I sent the names and addresses of her businesses, and that was the last I heard of it. I didn't really know what came of that tip. But a few months later, I got a call from Daniel Waters, who was an investigative reporter, and he wanted some information about a story he was writing. And in March of 2025, so March of this year, he published a story with all the filling in the blanks, all the info that I didn't know. And it turns out that just a few days after my tip, ICE did raid Representative Mickelson's businesses, and they had a prior contact with one of her employees. So a man named Sajid Soto, he's an illegal immigrant from, I believe it was Mexico, but it may be another Latin American country. Not supposed to be in the US, but more importantly, he had an arrest in 2021 for domestic battery and drug possession. He was choking his wife in front of his young daughter. He was arrested for domestic abuse, and as part of that arrest, they found meth in his wallet. So, wife beater, drug abuser, bad guy, not the noble, hardworking immigrant that the left tries to characterize. But even if he had been, he was in our country illegally. He should not have been here. He should have been deported under the Biden administration. They didn't do their job, but thank God we finally have a president with balls who respects the rule of law and is upholding these immigration laws. So ICE arrested him as at least by January 27th. Public records showed that he had been transferred to the Southern Detention Center in Las Vegas and was shipped out of the country shortly after that. And if he comes back in, a rearrest will be a felony this time. So for violations of entering the country illegally, the first time is a misdemeanor, second time is a felony. And I don't know, maybe we can send him to CCOT or Alligator Alcatraz or something like that next time.
I recall that the bill that Representative Mickelson actually gave that statement on was debating against a bill that would make illegal entry a state level crime, basically to give police a one more tool in the ability, and this was during the Biden administration, one more way to handle people who come in here without authorization. It's
Yeah,
ironic.
it seems rather apparent why she didn't want that bill to pass.
Now, that was almost a year ago now. So, we're coming up
Yeah,
on January of 2025, or
yeah.
2026, that is, just a month from now. But this has been back in the news again. What happened this past week?
So a local saloon, the Old State Saloon, who has their own level of notoriety, posted a statement on X on Twitter, and they may have posted it elsewhere, I don't know, saying that they would give 1 month of free beer, and they've since clarified that to up to 2 beers a day for 30 days, for anybody that could prove that they assisted with the deportation of an illegal alien. And so a friend of mine on X, her name's Lauren Walker, she goes by Roglue18, she tagged me in a reply to that post saying, "Oh, hey, Ryan, go down and get your free beer." And so I replied, "Sweet, I'll be right down to get my free beer." And Mark, who owns Old State Saloon, apparently hadn't heard of the prior incident with Representative Mickelson and myself. And so he asked for some details, and I sent him the news article that documented the whole timeline of the tip and the raid and the deportation. And he said, "Yeah, this qualifies. Congratulations, Ryan. You get a month of free beer." And I think it was later that day, I went down to the Old State Saloon, just a couple miles from my house, and got one of my free beers. And Mark and I had a little chat and toasted to our free beer. And he made a reel or a TikTok video and posted it all over all the social media platforms. And it's really taken off since then. Everything from Newsweek, New York Post, Fox News, Gateway Pundit, Daily Mail in the UK, Hindustan Times, India Times. Everybody just, it seems like I'm running out of news outlets that have not republished this story. And I've, of course, gotten the usual flack from the left, everything from just nasty comments to actual death threats on my phone, on email, social media. Documenting some of those, some are more or less credible than others, but it's certainly not the first time that I've fielded leftist hate, so I try to take it all in stride.
Well, I noticed when Old State Saloon first posted about the free beer option, it got picked up by a lot of big national accounts, including the Department of Homeland Security, whose Twitter account has been pretty intense since President Trump came back into office.
Yeah.
I guess it does show the this is such a polarizing issue at this point that people on the right, myself included, are enthusiastic about seeing our laws enforced and people who shouldn't be here deported. But then you have the people on the left who they believe that we're literally Nazis for even considering, deporting people who shouldn't be here.
Yeah, it's ironic. I'm pretty sure the Nazis prevented people from escaping, rounded up into camps, and kept them there, and then eventually killed a bunch of them. Where our goal is to ship people back from this to these countries that they are purportedly so proud of until we ask them to go back to those countries. It seems a little ironic that, I love Somalia, or I love Mexico, or I love whatever country it is, until somebody says, "Great, how about you go back there?" And then, man, that's akin to a death sentence, apparently, to have to go back to these wonderful countries.
Where do you see the debate going here in the near future? We've got the legislative session coming up in January, but also, you're, within your role as a vice chair of the Ada County Republicans, do you see the debate continuing? Do you see things changing?
Yeah, I do see the debate continuing. Unfortunately, there are a lot of financial incentives. So I've had a couple of people in law enforcement have approached me and warned me about the very serious danger that I could be facing. And they've mentioned the cartels that are bringing many of these illegal immigrants into the country. And they said that you're going after their revenue stream, or one of their revenue streams. when people do that, the cartels tend to make examples of them. And so they've advised me on some just very practical, common sense security precautions, and I've taken those very seriously. But it just goes to show that people don't give up money easily. And just like Representative Mickelson didn't want to give up her cheap labor, there's a whole lot of other people, both legislators and the people that donate money to them, that don't want to give up their cheap labor. I hope that it doesn't come to open warfare the way that it did the last time a portion of our country was told that they had to give up their cheap labor. This is akin to modern day slavery. Many of these immigrants, a significant portion of their income is going back to the people that trafficked them into this country. So I hope that it can be settled peacefully and lawfully, but history shows us that when there's this much money involved, people don't back off without a fight. But there's a lot of people that are really sick of this and that are willing to take that fight and to take this to the courts, to the legislatures. And I hope we can continue in that. I hope that voters are going to pay attention and continue to pursue this. But we shall see how it goes. There's events like the shooting in Washington, D.C., the illegal immigrant or illegal alien that ran over the little girl in Boise. There's lots of incidents with illegal aliens running trucks into people and killing people on our highways. That this is often how things change for humanity. We are motivated by tragedy. And these are horrible things to happen, but hopefully the good that will come out of them is that we will learn from our mistakes and that we will change our laws and enforce the laws that are already on the books to fix the problems that are here.
I take it that vacation plans to Mexico are not on the table then?
No. Kidnapping would be the least of my concerns with those types of plans.
It's a reminder that we do sometimes have fun with this, especially on social media, but there are very serious issues and as you said, tragedies that underlie a lot of this as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, Ryan Spoon, first vice chair of Ada County Republicans and the recipient of 30 days of free beer. Thank you.
Thanks.